should be back on YouTube. It says I'm pushing. Looks like it's back. I'm seeing nothing from you right now. I'm hearing your audio, your background audio. Oh. Wait a minute. Huh. So my audio's in the stream somehow. So I'm live on the stream, just not the PA. Okay. But is there any way to get me a new live? I need a new FTR so I can see live. You probably don't have me. Oh. So I'm hearing the live stream from somewhere. Oh, I probably need to mute myself in the FTR, right? Okay. For right now, I'm hearing myself back about 6 seconds later. My replay computer no 10. Without resetting it. I guess send to YouTube. Yep. No, I just turned on YouTube. What the hell? YouTube is feeding back to me. But I'm frozen. App RTC is frozen. I'm frozen from you. I'm not getting from you. Okay, I can try resizing the screen. Yeah, it's there. It's kind of terrible. It's working again, but it's terrible. What I don't get is why I'm hearing this stream. Maybe. There you go. Well, I can't see the first lap. And then it froze again. The mute thing fixed my other issue. Now it's back. But my app RTC is shit. It keeps freezing. Yeah. I know. Do you want to try the other method? Oh, now it came back. But it was frozen. It's there. I won't be able to call a race if it keeps freezing like that. It's live now, but the quality's no good. Like I can't tell. I can't tell. I can't even read the graphics. Like before, it was great. Like I could read everything. I could see what was going on. And then as soon as yeah, it froze again. Want to try the Chrome? And now it came back. Now it's clear. Now it's great. What did you do? No, now it's mint. Might as well just try it. Okay. Are you gonna try and blow out the overlays on the first lap? All right. Say hello to everyone watching on YouTube. Still 40 viewers. We're close to 100 there as we were waiting for the technical details to get all figured out. And I think we're about close. Want to thank everyone for joining us on the MultiGP YouTube channel. You're watching the Freedom Spec drone race live from Moberly, Missouri. And we are about halfway through the spec class double elimination brackets of 32. There were 38 pilots, all competing with pretty much the exact same drone. We'll talk about that in a little bit as we pick things up here. Race number 19. This is a consolation bracket race just after the midway point, which means 2 will be going home and 2 will be advancing in our consolation bracket to match number 24, not filled as of yet. This will be Propsicle, Laughin', Shames, and a drone. Propsicle making the trip from Illinois, Laughin' from North Carolina, a drone from Tennessee, and of course Shames, our host, organizer, and competing pilot as well from Moberly, Missouri. 4 pilots, 3 of them were featured at the 2019 MultiGP Championship. Shames finishing 56th overall, Laughin' 41st overall, and Propsicle in the number 10 spot overall. Give me nothing's coming out. It's not muted, bud. It shows green. It shows green. Is it muted in the stream? Or is it muted in the stream or the PA? Yeah, that's not on me. But you can, you're hearing me as Scully in back channel, right? And then when I pop into general, then that should be the PA. Looks like we're about to go green here in just a moment. Oh, maybe he has the volume down on my user. Right click on the user. Well, it shows me green talking. And then there goes the overlays again. I'm sure someone has the number to call support. Well, I don't know, man. And there she froze again on me. They say the audio is good in the stream. Fantastic. General channel. General channel. What was it? I didn't do anything. I'm in it. I'm in general. Huh. I was in general. I'm in general. Okay. Looks like one more lap to go here. A drone leading the charge, but this is a elimination race. It's between Laughin' and Propsicle for that transfer position. White flag flying, one more to go. Propsicle and Laughin', and oh no, Propsicle going down. Great news for Laughin'. Looks like Shame's trying to catch up to the pack here, and A Drone working his way to stay alive. 5 laps, a minute 49. He is moving up to race number 24. And Laughin' pulling up second. As Shames finishes up his last lap here, it's going to put him third. That'll put him just inside of the top 12, I believe. And Propsicle down early. Back on that final lap, so that's going to put him a little deep as well. So moving on up, A Drone and Laughin' to match number 24. That was race 19 of 30. Coming up next, still sticking with our consolation bracket, Ethan FPV, TB FPV, Sweet FPV name, and Balake. You're up. Consolation bracket race, top 2 survive, bottom 2 done. Gonna get a front row seat for some fireworks here tonight. So what do you think? Except I'm still in the stream when I pop over here, aren't I? I'm beautiful. Getting set here to roll into match number 20, Ethan FPV, TB FPV, Sweet FPV name, and Balake. Again, it is a consolation bracket race. 2 will be eliminated. Balake making the trip from Minnesota, TB FPV from North Carolina, Ethan FPV from New Hampshire, and Sweet FPV name from Colorado. International event here, the Freedom Spec Race, presented by 533, with support by Team Black Sheep, Beta FPV HQ Prop, and Central Missouri home team, hosted by Heart of America FPV. Got 2 pilots that finished inside of the top 75 at Champs in 2019. Balake was 54th when it was all said and done in the pro class, and Ethan FPV 32nd. And TB FPV hit the podium at our first ever Sport Class Championship. We are underway, and looks like Ethan FPV having a few issues. He's going to be back of the pack trying to chase down our leaders. Looking at Sweet FPV name and Balake pretty close together. There's a Sweet FPV name. There's TB FPV across. And there's Balake as well. Ethan FPV catching up. So 8 seconds separating all 4 pilots here after 1. And your leader, Sweet FPV name, bottom left-hand corner, your DVR screen. This course here is one big orbit. Going from the outside to the inside. Sweet FPV name and TB FPV once again. Right joined together, crossing over about 0.2 of a second apart. Balake running third, and he's about 3 seconds back of TB FPV with that transfer position. Still a few more laps to go here. Sweet FPV name, 2 to go as he gets on to lap number 4. TB FPV still in the number 2 spot. And now Ethan FPV making a move from 4th up into 3rd. He's about 3.5 seconds back from TB FPV. As we get set to wave a white flag There goes Sweet FPV name onto his final lap. One more to go. TB FPV onto the final lap. Ethan FPV right with them. They're separated by 1.1 seconds, and Balake gets onto that final lap as well, racing to the checkered. Sweet FPV name, bottom left-hand side of your screen. Bottom right. Doug has them all switched up on me. I gotcha. There's the ding. What a finish right there. Ethan goes from 0 to hero, goes from 4th into 3rd on about lap number 3, and he pulls off the win. 5 laps a minute 57. And then we drop half a second back to TB FPV in 2nd. 6/10 of a second back, Sweet FPV name in the number 3 spot. And Balake 3 seconds back from them. So moving on up in our consolation bracket will be Ethan FPV and TB FPV. And journey ending here tonight for Sweet FPV name and Balake. So we'll see Ethan FPV and TB FPV in race number 24. That was race number 20. Here we go into our winners bracket. This is match number 21, Hyper, Sky FPV, Neukel, and Engineer. There's a winner's bracket race. Bottom 2 going into the consolation bracket. Top 2 going to match number 25, which is the semifinal of the winner's bracket. So 2 hops away from getting into our final 4 to play Chase the Ace here tonight. No. If I guess you're using your phone, Doug, you're not able to make the call. Say hello to Night Fury, who's been hanging out watching the spinning wheel all night long. Happy 4th of July to the 2-time MultiGP champ. Say hello to Paco FPV, my good buddy from east of me here in Canada. Zeph FPV has also been watching the spinning wheel. Everybody watching on YouTube, we appreciate your patience here tonight. We're about 2/3 of the way through the Spec Championship. And of course, this is the 533 presented event, Freedom Spec Weekend. Numerous classes. Of course, there's a tiny trainer race at Shane's place, the Heart of America field a little bit later on this evening. Open racing tomorrow. But tonight is all about the Freedom Spec, which is any airframe, any ESC, flight controller, software, analog video system, or camera. Those are just that's the only thing you can customize. The spec components need the 533 heads-up FPV 2207 motor, available at fly533.com. The prop needs to be an HQ R38. Any 3S LiPo battery is permitted, and a minimum all-up weight of 460 grams. Winner's bracket heat, they're saying this one's stacked. Top 2 going to our semifinal. You got Hyper, Sky FPV, Neukel, and Engine Air getting set to work. All 4 pilots were at the 2019 MultiGP Championship. Sky FPV was 18th, Hyper was 16th, Neukel was 14th, and Engine Air finishing in the number 7 spot when it was all said and done. And I know it's pretty confusing for those watching along at home, but I have multiple mute buttons, and we've been trying to diagnose everything here to get it working. Obviously, a big issue being the internet connection. We also have a lifetime setting, and as much as I use lifetime, not sure what it is. So as soon as they go green, they graze out their FPV feeds until someone does a lap. And that is a setting in live time that's either keep heads up or count heads up lap, some sort of an issue within live time scoring. I'm 3,000 miles away. I'm not able to touch any buttons and poke around. So we're hopefully going to get live time on the line to try and fix that. And as I look to my scoring screen here, the drone numbers not necessarily matching the number of the screen, as we're just hitting buttons and automatically doing it. So you got Hyper in the top left, Neuchel in the top right, Engineer in the bottom right, Sky FPV bottom left. Din FPV asking if I'm at home. Yeah, buddy. Celebrating the 4th in Canada. Is that even legal? We're about ready to go green. Go tone, off to the races we go. There you are, Hyper and Neuchel right together. You got Sky FPV doing your chase cam on the backside. He's coming up on the backside of Engineer. This is going to be a heater right here. We saw a 3-way finish about 2 heats ago. See how this plays out. There's Neuchel, Engineer, Hyper, Sky FPV. 1, 2, 3, 4. Less than 1.9 seconds separating all 4 pilots after one, chasing Neuchel the early lead, but we go around the swoopy section. Neuchel's got a gear. Engineer has an issue. OSD coming up on him, so that's going to move Hyper up into second, Sky FPV into third. This is a winner's bracket race. Top 2 moving up, bottom 2 moving down, so no tiers as of yet, as we're about to midway through here, about to get on to lap number 4. There's 3 recorded for Neuchel, 2 to go. There's 3 recorded for Hyper, 2 to go. Sky FPV running in the number 3 spot. He's only 2 seconds back from the transfer position to move up. Has about a lap and a half here to catch the Hyper and Neuchel show out front. Swoopy from Neuchel, swoopy from Hyper, and a swoopy from Sky. This one's close. White flag flying. Neuchel gets onto lap number 5. There's Hyper and Sky FPV all on this lead lap. And less than 4 seconds separating all 4 pilots here. Gonna be pretty close. Neuchel with about a 2.5 second lead. There's Neuchel across the line to get the win. And Hyper pulling up second right behind him. That's going to put Sky in third, Engineer in fourth. So into the semifinal, the winner's bracket we go with Neuchel and Hyper. And into match number 26, we'll go with Engineer in fourth, Sky FPV in third. They go into the consolation bracket. They got a break of about 4 or 5 heats. And of course, Neuchel and Hyper back in match number 25, a break of 3 heats. We'll go winner's bracket, consolation bracket. Let's go down into the consolation bracket. This will be match number 22. Nerk, SFPV, Fat Kid, and Jake Hammer, I believe, are your next 4 to work. Another heat of pilots featured at Champs. Jake Hammer finishing 52nd overall at Champs. It was a big move. Qualified 71st on the global list last year. Fat Kid was 24th at Champs. Of course, in 2018, he was your second runner-up, 3rd overall, the MultiGP Championships. And SFPV finishing inside of the top 25 of the 2019 Champs as well. Back in 2018, was top 16 at Champs. A lot of history. And Nerk was at Champs as well, taking championship photos. I like his style. This is a consolation bracket race. Top 2 move up, bottom 2 move down. Saying hello to everyone on our YouTube chat. Hello to Twidget, Din FPV, Agent Orange. Looks like we got a lot of Jake Hammer fans here in this one. And we're just starting to warm up here. Match number 22 of 30. And we're getting closer to that championship. So far, we have Neuchel and Hyper in the semifinal, one spot away. And on deck, we will have Chief, Randbrand, Heads Up FPV, and Amari. The top two from that going into our semifinal, the winner's bracket. But here in match number 22, top two staying alive, bottom two being sent home, getting set to go green. Got full video. There we go. Great start. We are underway again. Consolation bracket race. Pressure is on. Of course, competing for their share of $2,000, and looks like 1.6 seconds separating all four pilots here after one. Nurk with the lead after lap number one. It was Nurk and Fat Kid there at the front for just a second, but just as they went around the swoopy, we lost Fat Kid. And so now with 2.5 laps to go, it's Nurk, Jake Hammer, SFPV. Only separated by about two seconds or less. Here we are, 2 to go. Nurk, Jake Hammer, SFPV, running order remaining the same. Separation less than a second, 0.7 of a second. 3 of them going around the double stack gate. This final lap is going to be a beater. Issues for SFPV going a little bit farther back from the pack. Nurk and Jake Hammer getting onto that final lap. SFPV 2 seconds back here onto this final lap, racing to the checkered. Nurk and Jake Hammer doing their thing. Looks like SFPV's almost caught up, but oh no, coming up short right before our start finish gate. And that is not going to work for him. And that is where the journey is going to come to an end. Nurk with the win. Jake Hammer in second. Third going to SFPV. Fourth to Fat Kid. Double A saying those gates are so cool looking. Yeah, of course, new gates from fpvgates.com. First race that they're featured at. Seem to be standing up to the test of time. Here we go. 3/4 round of the winner's bracket. Top two going to our semifinal. The winner's bracket, this will be Chief, Randbrand, Heads Up FPV, and Amari. Heads Up FPV, of course, your top qualifier. And so far, Ironman mode engaged. He has won two of his matches so far in sequence here so far this evening. Another heat of 4 pilots as were featured at the 2019 MultiGP Championships. Randbrand finishing the number 63 spot overall at Champs. Chief was 26, just outside of the top 25. Amari finishing in the top 8. And of course, Heads Up FPV, the 2-time MultiGP champion, 2018, 2019. Also the Northeast champion. Of course, Amari was the North Central champion back in 2018 when it was a regional series. Now grinding that global leaderboard on the global list for the MultiGP Championship. So far, only one of these 4 pilots on the global list. That's Amari in the number 10 spot on the 2020 MultiGP global leaderboard. So into our winners bracket, top 2 moving up to that semifinal, bottom 2 into our consolation bracket. The top 2 in this race will be guaranteed to be top 6 when it's all said and done. Looking at the prize pool from earlier, paying out the top 5, so chance for a paycheck in play here in this one. Match number 23 of 30. There's Go Tone off to the races we go. Fantastic start. Looks like the whole shot went to Chief. And Heads Up FPV with an 18-4 to kick things off. Then Chief in the number 2 spot. Amari in 3rd. Randbrand with those issues on the yaw spin of death, but he's able to get back up. He's about 9 seconds away from our leader, about 7 seconds away from our transfer position, but anything can happen here. Holy. There's Heads Up FPV with a 19, but Amari and Chief right now in a battle at the top of your screen. This is for the move into our semi-final. It's stereo optic, visual stereo, both of them going through the elevated gate. Been watching them all spring and early summer here, racing in the sim. Now watching them racing real time in real life, and they're even sneaking up on Heads Up FPV. Heads Up FPV running his own race, but right behind him, Amari and Chief. This could turn from a battle for second, third to a three-way battle for the front of the board. Heads Up FPV gets on to lap number 5, final lap. White flag flying. Amari and Chief right behind him. Randbrand still trying to clean up on this one. And now looks like Heads Up FPV has the gear. He's about 2 gates to the good, and big issues for Amari, biting it into one of the bottom of those FPVgates.com gates. So it's going to be Heads Up and Chief going into our semifinal, first and second, and Heads Up FPV maintaining that Iron Man mode. Third going to go to Amari. Second was his, if not first, but biting into a gate, a little bit of bad news. So we will see Amari and Randbrand in race number 27. That's a break of about 3. And we'll take Heads Up FPV and Chief into our semifinal, the winner's bracket, race number 25, where they will race against Neukel and Hyper. Race number 25 is going to be an intense one to watch as well. Semifinal of the winner's bracket. No one eliminated from that one, so, well, we'll still work our way to populating that final 4 here tonight for Chase the Ace. That was race number 23. Coming up next, we go to race number 24. A-Drone, Laughin, Ethan FPV, and TB FPV. Top 2 is its consolation bracket. Moving on to match number 27 versus Amari and Randbrand. Bottom 2 will be done just outside of our top 12 here tonight. You're watching the 533 Freedom Spec drone race here tonight. 3S quads, spec'd out motors, props, frames, and everything else optional. And no matter how full throttle they go, these battles are tight. We're seeing 1/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second separating our top 3, top 4 as they work their way through our brackets. This is race number 24 of 30. Couple pilots that you saw at Champs in 2019. Laughin finishing just inside of the top 50. Ethan FPV 32nd overall at Champs in 2019. Of course, TB FPV, your reserve sport class champion of the first ever sport class championship. And the veteran pilot, Ethan FPV, with accolades dating all the way back to the 2017 season. 2017, 54th, 2018, 56th, 2019, 32nd, getting closer to the top. Well, it's about working their way over to that Heart of America flight line, about to take seats, take to the skies. This is race number 24, about to go green. And we're green, off to the races. Consolation bracket race, do or die. And opening lap times coming in. About 2.2 seconds separating our entire field. A-Drone, your early leader. Ethan FPV running second, TB FPV running third. And Laughin back in fourth. On to lap number 3 we go with Adrian and Ethan FPV, separated by about 1.2 seconds. TBFPV getting onto that lead lap. There's Laughin as well in 4th. They're about 5 seconds up from the stay alive top 2 here in this consolation bracket. Adrian and Ethan FPV. 2 to go. Adrian and Ethan crossing over about 1.5 seconds apart. There's TBFPV onto that lead lap. He's now 6 seconds back from our top 2 with 2 laps to go. And Laughin on that lead lap as well. About 8 seconds back from staying alive. Going to try and find some ground here. White flag flying. 1 more to go for Adrian and Ethan FPV. Still running a race of their own out at the front. And caution and care could get them there as we have a battle for 3rd, 4th here to round out for TBFPV and Laughin. Getting set to wave that checkered flag, and your whole shot and your leader through laps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Adrian with the win. Ethan finishing up right behind him. Less than a second and a half back in the number 2 spot. To move to race number 27. 3rd going to go to Laughin. 4th to TBFPV. And that one is in the books. And now it's time to get excited. We're at the semi-final of the winner's bracket. Neuchel, Hyper, Heads Up FPV, and Chief. Your next 4 to work. Top 2 going to our finals here to play Chase the Ace. Of course, Heads Up FPV, the 2-time MultiGP champion and reigning MultiGP champion, has Iron Man mode engaged as he rolls in the TQ position. When we get to our final 4, we'll run the final bracket repeatedly until someone wins twice, unless the top qualifier wins all of their races. And so far, the top qualifier, Heads Up FPV, has won 3. This will be his 4th. And if he wins this one, when he goes into that finals, he'll only need to win the first race. If he does that, he will be your champion. And that's where things really get interesting, because Heads Up FPV, along with Mondo, are 533 or fly533.com. And because they're the title sponsor, they are opting not to claim their prize money. They're technically playing win Heads Up FPV's money. So even if he does win, that means we'll drop down to our top 6 for our payout. But let's not count the money before those checks are signed as of yet here. Semi-final of the winner's bracket getting set to go green. All 4 pilots at the 2019 championship inside of the top 30. Chief was 26th. Hyper was 16th. Neuchel was 14th overall. And then Heads Up FPV, of course, the champion 2019, 2018. Back in 2017, he was 10th in his opening season of drone racing, his rookie season, top 10, and finishing that up, or following that up with 2 wins back-to-back. They're getting excited for this one. Sean Taylor, Night Fury FPV, watching on YouTube. Excited to see this semifinal. Woke up from that mesmerizing circle on the old YouTube earlier. Night Fury says, don't go potato, Hyper. Take it easy, take it easy. This one is going to be insane. This is a semifinal, maybe a precursor to our final, because in the winner's bracket, top 2, of course, going to the final. Bottom 2 will go into the semifinal of the consolation bracket, where the top 2 go to the final 4. And we have seen it a few times where all 4 pilots race in the semifinal and all 4 pilots race inside of the finals as well. But there are another 8 pilots still in contention to take some of the wind out of the sails there. No insurance in this situation here for these 4 pilots. About to go green. We're starting to grid up out of the line. Looks like we got full video about to go green here. Once again, the semifinal of the winner's bracket, match number 25 of our 30. Of course, the final one is Chase the Ace. Could go a bunch of matches. We'll see how that plays out. That is the future. Let's get into the present as we're looking at those FPV feeds. Looks like the lights are coming down, but with the sunlight, but the stadium lighting is coming up. We're going to be racing right up until the fireworks here this evening. Hopefully going to crown our champion before the fireworks play out. And looks like we may be on pace to do that. I think the fireworks are scheduled to take place in about an hour and 20 minutes. The old false start. We'll try that one again. So the fireworks, I believe, are in about an hour and 20 minutes. 9:30 local. Central Standard Time. We'll line them up and go again. Thanks to the sponsors, of course, to the 533 Freedom Spec Race Weekend. Of course, 533, the presenting sponsor, title sponsor, and the spec motors that they're racing. Also, tonight they'll be racing the 533 Tiny Trainer. I got mine. Have you got yours yet? Fly533.com. Also, FPVgates.com. This is their inaugural race with their Gates official race, showing how they can stand up to the fastest drone racers here in the U.S. HQ Props as well, Beta FPV, Team Black Sheep, Central Missouri Home Team, and Heart of America FPV as well. We're going to try and have a better start this time. Got full video, about to go green, semifinal, the winner's bracket. The suspense is killing me. And we are green here, semifinal of the winner's bracket. Neukel, Hyper, Heads Up FPV, and Chief, of course, Heads Up FPV with Ironman mode engaged. Gonna try and sweep it right into the final, but he's got some challengers here in this one. Opening lap, a heater, 1.4 seconds separating all four pilots, and Neukel, the pilot with the gun on his back, Heads Up FPV, trying to get by him. They're separated by 0.2 of a second after one. Still pushing. There's Heads Up FPV up in the number one spot. Hyper up into second. Chief into third. Neukel issues on lap number two. Now he's coming from behind. That's the bad news. Good news, he's less than 5.5 seconds back off of our leader. Heads Up FPV trying to maintain the Ironman mode. 2 to go for Heads Up FPV. Hyper and Chief now in a battle for second, third. Neukel is about 3 seconds back from the transfer position. Heads Up FPV with a 2-second lead. Hyper and Chief trading places back and forth here. About to go on to the final lap. White flag flying. One more to go for Heads Up FPV. There goes Hyper across the line, and Chief now about 0.9 of a second back in third. Neukel It's getting a little closer. He is 3 seconds off of the transfer position. Everyone working here on the lead lap, the final lap, lap number 5. Who is going to go into our finals here tonight? As we wave a checkered flag, there's Heads Up FPV across the line. Hyper crossing over in second, about 2.8 seconds back in second. Then we drop another 3.2 seconds back to Neukel in third. The leader of lap number 1, and dropping down into fourth, then up into third. And that is going to put Chief in fourth when it's all said and done. So into our finals, we will take the Ironman mode engaged, your TQ Heads Up FPV, along with Hyper in our final 4. And of course, we'll see Neukel and Chief in just a little bit as well in race number 29, the consolation bracket semi-final. They have a chance to match them up again. That is race number 25 in the books. All the congratulations are coming in. Night Fury saying, whoa, baby. FPV saying, nice one, Mason. Jonathan Colazzo with nice. Even me, whoa, with a good race. Yeah, that was. We're going to see a lot more tight racing still to go. We have, looks like 6 more matches still to go as we go into our consolation bracket here with Nurk, Jake Hammer, Sky FPV, and Engineer here in race number 26. On deck will be A-Drone, Ethan FPV, Amari, and Randbrand. It's going to be insane. If you're just joining us here tonight, you're watching the Freedom Spec Weekend live from Moberly, Missouri. I am sitting up in Canada and connected remotely, hanging out with all the pilots. This might be one of the biggest races of 2020. Jam-packed roster, just under 40 pilots, and a majority of them featured at either the Pro Class Championship or the Sport Class Championship in 2019. A few others that have been to MultiGP championships and hitting the podiums. Also some TV pilots as well. Star-studded roster, and they have delivered in this spec race, all flying the exact same drone where spec'd out we have the 533 Heads-Up FPV 2207 motor. Everyone's flying those. The HQ R38 prop, everyone's flying those. They're also locked to a 3S battery and an all-up weight of 460 grams. All the other components from airframe, flight controller, software, video, camera is up to the pilots, but usually those things don't affect the flight. This is exciting here. Our pilots working for their share. $2,000 to our top 5, and Heads Up FPV wins because he's the title sponsor along with Mondo, fly533.com. It'll be the top 6. Everyone's playing Win Evans money here tonight. As we go into the consolation bracket, we have 4 pilots here with a chance to win some of Evans money. We are green and running hot here. Race number 26. It's the golden hour. Great time to fly. We watch them push their way through here onto lap number 2. Look at this 3-way pass. Sky FPV, Nurk, and Engineer onto lap number 2. Jake Hammer is in the caboose on the back of the track. About 5 seconds back from a transfer position with 4 laps to go. It is a tight one right now. Chasing Sky FPV. Oh, looks like Nurk has pushed himself up into the lead. Well, it's Engineer, then Nurk, then Sky, then Jake Hammer. 1, 2, 3, 4. The changes happen just so fast. They're all flying the exact same drone, chasing down Engineer. Now he goes wobbling a little bit off track. It's back on course. Should put Nurk up into the number 1 spot. And no, Engineer able to hold that lead. Holding the lead here by 2.3 seconds over Nurk in second. Sky FPV about 4 seconds back off of our top two to stay alive. Jake Hammer gets onto that lead lap as well. He needs to find 6 seconds here in these last 2.5 laps. And white flag flying. Engineer goes on to lap number 5. Nurk onto the final lap as well. He's got a little bit of breathing room as we're going to slide Jake Hammer up into third. About 6.2 seconds back off of Engineer and Nurk, looking to stay alive. Ready to wave a checkered flag, and Engineer getting it done. Just one little bobble. The rest was all perfection. Engineer is going to stay alive, going from race number 26 into race number 28. Don't count out Nurk. He's going to get it done as well. The number 2 spot finishing just under 3.9 seconds ahead of Jake Hammer finishing third, and Sky FPV in fourth. And so that is, I believe, is going to put Sky FPV in 12th and Jake Hammer 11th overall. With Engineer and Nurk now moving to race number 28, which is on deck, not this next heat. The chance to work their way into our final 4 as we get set to grid up race number 27. This should be Adrone, Ethan FPV, Amari, and Randbrand, your next 4 to work. Still in the consolation bracket, the top 2 in this race will go not on deck, but in the hole versus Neukel and Chief in the semifinal of the consolation bracket. So we are 2 races away for these pilots to get into our final 4 versus Heads Up FPV and Hyper. This is Adrone, Ethan FPV, Amari, and Randbrand. On deck will be Engineer, Nurk, and first and second in this race right here. This is the coming in hot segment. It's not a walk of shame, it's a walk of pride. Good finish here with this jam-packed field of pilots. The Freedom Spec drone race, Moberly, Missouri. As we start to grid them up here again. Pilots have gridded up. There's a shot of them as they go from the launch stands back to the flight line. Looks like Adrone just making a few last adjustments. There you are. We got full video. You're on it there. Hit save. It's been a crazy day. Shout out to Doug Kling working his assets off here to bring this feature race to the masses on the MultiGP YouTube channel. Bright and early at the start of the day to get a connection, a hardwired point-to-point connection, so that the broadcast can move on. And it's been scrambling and working throughout the day to get that to work. And then, of course, working through those first number of races there in our bracket to put the finishing touches on it. Behind the scenes, I can tell you that we have a lot of duct tape in play here. This isn't the most ideal situation for the new magic that we've been working on this season, which allows us to produce an event remotely. And of course, the one kryptonite, or one piece of kryptonite in all of that is always the connection from the track. And that has been our kryptonite here, that we've thrown some duct tape on it and some electrical tape as well. So we're going to be good to go green. And we're glad to have each and every one of you along for the ride worldwide. Consolation bracket race. Top 2 race back-to-back versus Engineer and Nurk. Bottom 2 finish 9th and 10th overall. Or field of 38 in the spec race. We are green. Well, we're a little gapped out here after one. Amari, your leader after one. And now on to lap number 2. We go with Amari. Ethan going from third up into second. Adrone is just 0.2 of a second behind him. And Ranbrand back of the caboose, about 3 seconds back with 2.5 laps still to go. Chasing down the renowned pilot we've been watching on television, Amari, as he gets that start-finish gate lined up. And on to lap number 4. 2 to go for Amari, 2 to go for Ethan FPV. He's just 1.4 seconds off of our leader. Adrone gets onto that lead lap as well. He's about 0.2 of a second behind Ethan. Ranbrand is about 3 seconds back still again. Still cooking, ready to wave a white flag. One more to go for Amari. There's a drone across the line in the number 2 spot. One more lap to go. Ranbrand up into the number 3 spot. He is 3.9 seconds away from the transfer position that Adrone has as we race to the checkered. Looks like Amari has this one in the bag. Amari will stay alive to race back-to-back right now. And as we get set to welcome across Ranbrand, going from 4th into 2nd to finish that one up, to stay alive, and that means the journey going to come to an end here for Adrone. He's going to finish 9th overall, and Ethan FPV 10th overall in the spec race right there. As we take Amari and Ranbrand up right now versus Engineer and Nurk. Top 2 in this next matchup go to our semi-final of the consolation bracket, which will be against Neukel and Chief. The top 2 go into our final 4 versus Heads Up FPV and Hyper here tonight as they take a walk out to retrieve some quads. As I said, it's not a walk of shame, it's a walk of pride. And Zeph PV on YouTube saying it's a walk of freedom. Heck yeah. Happy Independence Day to everybody watching. Craven FPV, of course, that's Robert Gentel, noticing that Amari uses a crosshair on OSD. Only fast pilot I've ever seen use it. Well, Amari's got it dialed in. Don't count out Amari. Back in 2017, Amari was top 16, the MultiGP Championship. That was way back in Reno, Nevada, where we had a fast 52 and a serious 60, yada, yada, yada. Amari top 16, 2017. The next year won the North Central Regional Final, finishing in the top 40 at Champs. And his most recent season, the 2019 MultiGP season, finishes up in the number 8 spot in the pro class. Currently ranked 10th overall on the global leaderboard in qualifying for the 2020 MultiGP Championship. Yeah, buddy. Big question about the lighting. Looks like the stadium lights are starting to come up as that sun starts to set. Racing to a podium and fireworks this evening as well. It's a big Freedom weekend in Moberly, Missouri. So again, it's race number 28, top 2 in this one. Racing on deck in the semi-final, the consolation bracket. And the top 2 going to our finals versus Heads Up FPV, our TQ, with Ironman mode engaged, and Hyper as well. Say hello to Flying Bear, watching the live stream as well. Hey, buddy. Listening from under his car, not allowed out of the man cave. That's a good way to be socially distanced, I guess. If anyone goes into your man cave, they're not going to be able to see you. You're under the car. Play it safe. Wash your hands. Hide out under your car. Flying Bear. What's going on, Quad Rivals? You guys got some something going on the Facebook? Got deals coming in? Nice behind the scenes look at the setup. There you go. You can wave at the camera. Hey, buddy. There you go. I don't know how the camera's moving. It's pointing at your shoes. Your sandals. What are you doing? There you go. The beach is that way. Looks like we got full video, just gridding up our last few quadcopters. A little bit of a shot of our launch stands using the FPV Pro launch stands. I believe we have a few more of those still available in the MultiGP store. That's multigp.com/shop. The choice of drone racing professionals worldwide, giving yourself a clean start. Be the king of the whole shot with an FPV Pro launch stand. You can see in the top right in Nurk's feed as he's getting his drone ready and also giving us some insider perspective to drone racing. Looking at the top left of the corner, and Amari's feed looks a little dark. The good thing is those FPVgates.com gates will be popping. GG Hils says hello to all the quad rivals in attendance at the Freedom Spec race as he watches from afar. Not under his car like Flying Bear, but watching from afar. Yeah, buddy. Pilots now making their way to their air chairs, getting set to fly here. This is match number 28 or race number 28. Top two racing on deck versus Neuchel and Chief in the semifinal of the consolation bracket. Top two going into our final four versus Heads Up FPV and Hyper. So top two are almost guaranteed cash. There's no guarantees as of yet. Paying the top 5 in our payout, unless Heads Up FPV is in the prize money lineup. It'll drop one position. So as we sit right here, top 2, pretty much guaranteed cash. We'll see how this plays out. Flying Bear asking where my beard is. I actually shaved today. It was a big day around the house. As we get set for the semi-final of consolation bracket, I can tell you how I celebrated the 4th here north of the 49th parallel. Hope wherever you are, you guys are enjoying your Independence Day. Getting set to see some fireworks here tonight. And fireworks on our drone racing track as well. We are already green, underway. Fantastic start for all 4 pilots. They're hungry. Look at this chase cam. Looks like Amari leading the charge. Everyone else right with them. It's Amari, then Engineer, 0.6 of a second back. Nurk and Ranbrand in a battle for 3rd, 4th. You need to be top 2 to do it, and they're about 4 seconds back right now here after 1. Anything can happen here as we still have another 3.5 laps still to go. Chasing down Amari and Engineer, there's both of them across the line. Look at that. Crossing over just 0.5 of a second apart. And onto that lead lap as well, we go with Randbrand and Nurk. They're only 1/10 of a second apart. So a battle for first and second, a battle for third and fourth. And now on to lap number 4, 2 to go. Amari and Engineer, they're now separated by 0.7 of a second, which is good. You want to keep a little bit of spacing in there. Nurk gets onto that lead lap. He's just under 5.6 seconds back from staying alive as we get onto that lead lap as well for Randbrand, who's in the number 4 spot, trailing Nurk by about 0.8 of a second. There's Amari, white flag flying, one more to go for him. White flag continuing to fly here for our entire field. Nurk getting up into second. Randbrand sliding up into third. And there's Engineer having some issues on lap number 4. Not sure if he's going to be able to catch up here on this final lap. We're getting set to wave a checkered and almost guaranteed cash for Amari, your winner here of race number 28. And it looks like Nurk is going to be able to hold on to the number 2 spot. No, Engineer gets ahead. Wow, what a recovery for Engineer, going from 4th and finishing up 2nd, getting by Nurk by 0.6 of a second on the final lap. I'll give 3rd to Nurk, 4th to Randbrand. So Randbrand 8th overall, Nurk 7th overall. And we're racing back-to-back here with Amari and Engineer. They're up right now versus Neuchel and Chief, the semi-final of the consolation bracket. Amari, Engineer, Neuchel, and Chief getting set to fly. The top 2 going into our finals to play Chase the Ace versus Heads Up FPV and Hyper here this evening. This is a stacked heat, another precursor. Goes back a long time. Back to 2018. The 2018 championships, that was in February in Las Vegas, Nevada. 2019, we saw Amari finish just inside of the top 40 at champs. Engineer finished at 23rd. As we look to our entire grid, all of them inside of the top 30 at champs in 2019. Chief was 26th. Neuchel was 14th. Amari 8th, and Engineer in 7th. Right now, as I do the quick math, all of them inside of our top 6. Maybe a guaranteed paycheck. The top 5 getting a paycheck. Of course, our TQ Heads Up FPV, if he wins, the money rolls on. So it could be top 6 with a paycheck. We'll see how this one plays out. That last one was a heater. It was the first time, I think, tonight that we've seen mistakes really coming into play. It's been a pretty exciting 4th of July here north of the line. Started the day this morning, I think about 10:15 with a golf tee-off time. Got a nice 9 in. Put on my MultiGP, whoops, wrong way. MultiGP golf shirt. Repping the brand out on the links. Got a quick 9 in this morning. And this afternoon, my daughter's 2nd birthday. All the kids over, the Paw Patrol toys. All the family wasn't the full second birthday that you've ever seen, where you have a lineup of kids. Obviously, with the social distancing, just limited to family. Fortunately, there's lots, so it was a good time. Rolling into the evening, watch some drone racing, and some intense drone racing. It is here with this Freedom Spec race. And as Craven FPV says, this next heat is brutal. Yeah, Neuchel, Chief, Amari, and Engineer. Pick 2 to go into our finals here tonight. That would not be an easy selection. I know Hydra FPV watching here tonight. Not sure if we would be able to slide. And I don't know if anyone would get the finishing order on this one correctly. Yeah, it's kind of ironic. My daughter's second birthday, and talking about some of these recent finals back in 2018 when I went to all 6 MultiGP regional finals. Her due date was actually, I think, the Monday after the Southeast regional final. Made it home in time. She came about 2 days later. So she's not on the sticks yet, but definitely has a storyline in the drone racing as well. Semi-final, the consolation bracket. Bottom 2, 5th and 6th overall. Top 2 in our final 4 to play Chase the Ace with Heads Up FPV and Hyper. Timing absolutely perfect. Heart of America team doing their thing, starting pretty much right on time with a pilot briefing and right into the heats. We had a little bit of a conversation beforehand about how long it should take this bracket. And speaking of those regional finals back in 2018, this bracket is actually the same bracket that we ran at all 6 regional finals. And looking at the data, we pretty much did those in 4 hours on average. And so far, Shame's doing a record. I don't know if it's a world record. Not sure how many people have run a top 32 double elimination bracket, but so far ahead of the game. And as Zeph FPV mentioned, getting right into the golden hour. It's all right, Din. She's the second child, so it wasn't as bad. I was there for the first one, so it's all good. Just about set. Checking out the chat. Who is cheering on who? We got some kudos and best of luck coming in for Noik from Jeff X. Racing against Noik a whole bunch in Velocidrone. Of course, this winter, spring, and summer, doing a lot of racing in the Velocidrone. Tournaments, weekly competitions. Velocidrone, the official sim of MultiGP drone racing. And I believe that this track that they're flying on at the Freedom Spec race is featured inside of Velocidrone. Just search for it, Freedom Spec in Velocidrone. If you don't have Velocidrone, it is the number 1 choice of drone racing pilots, the official sim of MultiGP, and it's available for less than $20 at velocidrone.com. And search for the Freedom Spec race inside of the sim. Once you get your radio connected, that takes just a few moments. You can even tune your quad to fly like the one in real life. Din cheering on, looks like Noik as well. Zeph PV, a lot of people behind Noik right now. Din going as far as a finish order of Noikle, Amari, Chief, and Engineer. Miwo says it's going to come down to no bobbles. Yeah, that's what we saw that last race there for sure. Nurk was second the whole time. Had a bobble in the end. Engineer was at the front for a little bit. He went all the way down to 4th. Finished second when it all came to an end. Last one had bobbles. We'll see what happens here. There's JT FPV. What's up, buddy? Cheering on Chief in this one. Top 2 going to our finals. GG Hurst, also well known in Velocidrone, says, yep, it's confirmed. It is in the sim. We are racing here. Lap number 1, looking like Chief in the number 3 spot. Amari in second. Engineer, your leader. And Neukel flying through the pain right now. Engineer and Amari, look at this, separated by just 1.2 seconds. Onto lap number 3, we take them. Engineer and Amari trying to work their way into the finals. Still a lap and a half to go. And they're already starting to put F for respects in the chat here for Noik. Noik's not giving up yet. Bouncing off the side of a gate. Looks like that's not going to be his finish right now. So he's going to be rooting on Heads Up FPV to be top 5 to roll that money down to 6 for him. Getting set to wave a checkered flag for Engineer, though. From the pole to the checkered, Engineer wins the semifinal, and he is in the final 4 along with Amari, making the last laps count, keeping our leader within his sights. And as we look for Chief to finish up, that's going to put Chief in the number 5 spot overall, Neukel in the number 6 spot overall. And how about this for a final 4, Heads Up FPV, Hyper, Engineer, and Amari. So we talked about the semifinal of the winners brackets, sometimes seeing the top 4 advance to it, and tonight, not the case. We have 2 coming out of the consolation bracket, Engineer and Amari. Coming out of the consolation bracket a little earlier into the game, out of the winners into the consolation bracket to slide here into this final 4. And this is going to be some good watching right here. So I just got an update over Facebook Messenger as everything else is not working the best. It will not be Chasey Ace. It will be one and done. They made a call based on the time frame and so forth. And so this last one will be a one and done situation. There we go. I found my mouse. Yeah, I saw the note. Thank you, FPV Evil Monkey. I was muted while I could make a Facebook call to see what was going on to get the report from the track, and so yeah, my apologies there. But we are back, getting set for your Final Four. Chase the Ace, racing repeatedly until someone wins twice. What a Final Four it is. We have Amari and Heads Up FPV, both in the top 16 at the 2017 MultiGP Championship. You got Heads Up FPV and Engineer. They were first and second together at the Northeast Regional Finals back in 2018. You got Hyper, who's third at his regional final, and Amari, who won, of course, his regional final in the North Central. All four pilots meeting at the 2018 MultiGP Championships. Amari was 39th. Engineer was 23rd. Hyper was 22nd. Of course, Heads Up FPV that year in 2018 won his first MultiGP Championship. Then, of course, Heads Up FPV was number one on the global list in 2019 and won the champs in Daytona Beach, Florida. Hyper was 16th. Amari was 8th. Engineer was 7th. We got some gunners for our field of 38 in our Freedom Spec race. I mean, down to your Final Four for Chase the Ace. Lighting is absolutely perfect. Of course, running for a prize pool. Winner getting $800. Second place getting $500. Third place $350. Fourth place $225. Fifth $125. Grand total of $2,000 on the line here in this Final Four. As we still have, well, we have fifth decided. So already a little bit of money awarded. So fifth is going to go to Chief. So no matter what happens here, Chief has earned prize money, $125 or more. And looking back, way back, Neukel will be the one to be wishing, waiting, and hoping that if Heads Up FPV does his thing, then that number will roll down, and Neukel will be, he will be in fifth. Actually, because we already have those two decided, no matter what happens here, because it's all about winning Evan's money. That's great news for Chief, because he just made more. He just doubled his money almost. Chief gets fourth overall for, no. We'll see how this plays out. Yeah, that would put him fourth. Yeah, 225 for Chief. 125 for Neukel. That's decided because Evan isn't earning money. So great news for Chief, doubling down. Heard a little Chief woo in the background. And Neukel, $125. But now it comes down to Hyper, Engineer, and Amari for the money. Heads Up FPV for the championship. Chase the Ace, Final Four again set to fly. This is the Freedom Spec drone race brought to us by 533 along with FPVgates.com, HQ Props, Beta FPV, Team Black Sheep, Central Missouri Home Team, and Heart of America FPV. A shot of our pilots here walking back to the flight line, getting set to fly. A great shot of the Heart of America flags. Lots of patriotism flying here on a 4th of July, Independence Day. Getting set to fly our first matchup of at least 2 and maybe 5. It's Chase the Ace. No Iron Man, which is great for the fans watching in-house and online. You get to see these Final Four pilots race again and again and again until someone wins twice. We're about to launch. There's Go-Tone off to the race as we go. Looks like Heads Up FPV with the early... Oh, he's dropped into the number 2 spot. Chasing down Amari. Look at 4 of them going up the double stack ladder. And oh no, losing 2. Engineer going down. And Hyper going down. It's just Heads Up FPV and Amari here in heat number 1. Now with Chasey Ace, every finish point matters. Engineer gets back into there. But in our first round, Hyper going to pull the first 4th place. That's going to hurt. Still with a chance to come back. Engineer getting onto that lead lap with Heads Up FPV and Amari. There's Heads Up FPV now onto lap number 3, a pair of 19s back-to-back. There's Amari getting onto lap number 3 as well. Trying to chase down our leader. He's about 4.9 seconds back, but he's ahead of 3rd right now. We'll see how this all plays out here. 2 to go for Heads Up FPV. There's a 20 and change on lap 3 onto lap number 4. Here comes Amari onto that lead lap. Now about 6 seconds back, 6.2 seconds back off of our leader. Still solid in the number 2 spot. Don't count out Engineer. He gets onto that lead lap. He's 9.1 seconds back from 2nd. White flag flying. 1 more to go for Heads Up FPV. That's his 3rd 19-second lap time of 4 here in this heat. There's Amari onto the final lap as well, meeting the white flag. 6.9 seconds back off of Heads Up FPV. And Engineer gets onto that lead lap as well. And Heads Up FPV with the first win of the session. Had it been Ironman mode, he would be your champion, but we're going to keep racing him repeatedly. 2nd going to Amari, 3rd to Engineer, 4th to Hyper, and Chasey Ace. Round number 1 in the books. So as they go out to retrieve their Freedom Spec drones, for those just joining us, Chasey Ace is a format featured in MultiGP, which is kind of like AAA mains back in the day of RC cars, but makes it a little more simple to understand. AAA's, basically you run 3 times and your finish points get totaled up. With Chasey Ace, it's you race repeatedly until one pilot wins twice. And the rest of the positions are decided based on their finish points added up. The lowest numbers rank higher. Tiebreaker being the last heat of the battle. It's the motocross rule when it comes to Chasey Ace. So as they work their way back, doing a little line of sight testing as well, Heads Up FPV has won the first heat. So if he wins this next heat, we're done. But let's say that Amari wins this next heat, we're going to race a 3rd time. Now, when we grid up race number 3, that would give Amari a win and Heads Up FPV a win. If either of them win the next heat, they would be the winner, and it comes down to the finish points. But let's say Engineer wins the next heat. Now he has a win, as does Amari, as does Heads Up FPV, and we race him a 4th time. And if then that one Hyper wins, now it's a full way tie and it goes to sudden death. And in Chasey Ace round number 5, the winner of that one would be the champion. The rest would come down to the finish points. Here's Kenrick FPV. He's well familiar with the format. Kenrick FPV, watching on YouTube. Host of the Velocidrone Open Championship, which I believe is Tuesday and Friday nights. Always join the Velocidrone Discord and stay tuned to see when the next Velocidrone battle is going to be featured. Of course, the scenario I gave you was hypothetical. Right now, Heads Up FPV is your ace to chase with the first win of the session. Paco FPV asking, what about Ironman rule? When was that removed? Am I missing something? No, just for this race. For more racing, more excitement, Ironman mode was removed. Ironman rule is usually when the top qualifier wins all their bracket races, they only have to win the first race to be the champion. And if they don't, then it reverts back to standard Chasey Ace rules. But with the Freedom Spec race, we're going to keep racing them until we break them. And no Ironman mode. And we're getting set to go green here again First ace of chase is Heads Up FPV. Heat number 1 went to Heads Up FPV. Second went to Amari. Third went to Engineer. Fourth went to Hyper. This could be the last heat of the night. It may not be. It'd be great if it wasn't. Because the fireworks are not for another 30 minutes and 25 seconds. Yeah. Kendrick FPV asking if it's still qualifying right now. Can he still get in? Can he still get in? All the simulators know what that's all about. Say hello to Team Bitmata, BMS Web, joining us. Good morning to you. We're celebrating July 4th in Moberly, Missouri, while BMS Web is celebrating July 5th in Melbourne, Australia. Beautiful shot of those FPV gates. Brand new, available at fpvgates.com. A full vinyl gate. And it wouldn't be a drone race on Independence Day in America if we didn't have the red, white, and blue, the great flags. Even, move my head out of the way, Hils celebrating the dawn of America's time. Nice fade, Doug. I look good. And I'm back. The suspense is killing me. Chris Thomas says this needs to end on fireworks. I agree, CT. We need one of those race delays here to really make it work. But there is one little twist to the equation, that when the fireworks are ready to fly, all the lights have to be off. So it'd be pretty tough to make that happen. We'll see. Could be close. Oh, I forgot. I'm actually just talking in the live stream right now. I forgot about all the capabilities I have. But they're just saying Sean Ames was on the mic there, so that's why I was just kind of staring off into space there, talking about the commentary, as there's actually spectators watching this drone race and wondering where the voice is coming from. And of course, I'm sitting in Canada, and through the PA system, when I click this button right now, back in Moberly, it looks like we're about ready to go green. Here we go. Chase the Ace round number 2. As Chris Thomas, the founder and CEO of MultiGP, says, this race is for freedom. So much freedom at the moment. Getting set to race for freedom right now. The Freedom Spec Drone Race. This is a race for everyone who believes in freedom. If you want to have a finish with fireworks, well, it's going to be on Amari, Engineer, or Hyper to push us another round, as we have an ace to chase. That's Heads Up FPV, the top qualifier, the reigning two-time MultiGP champion. He is number 1 right now. To push it a third round, he must be second, third, or fourth. Destiny is in the hands of Hyper, Engineer, and Amari. Let's get set to go. Green, chase the ace, round number 2. And we're live. Great race. Saw Hyper there on that start. Just hovering right behind Heads Up FPV. It's Heads Up FPV and Engineer right now in a battle for 1-2. See some great chase cam right now of Engineer. Hot on the heels as they go over the hurdle section. Heads Up, Engineer, Hyper, Amari. 1, 2, 3, 4. Less than 2 3/4 seconds separating all 4 pilots here. All racing with the same motors. It's a spec race. It's a little bit out of the standard when it comes to a drone race. How about this? 9/10 of a second between Engineer and Heads Up FPV. Engineer going to try and push us another round. He is the closest. We still have another 2 laps and a bit still to go. On to lap number 4 we go. 2 to go for Heads Up FPV. 2 to go for Engineer. He's 9/10 of a second back in second. Hyper gets on to that lead lap as well. He's a second out of second, 2 seconds out of first. Still with a chance to make something happen here as Amari gets on the last lap, or that lead lap as well. We're getting set to wave a white flag here. 1 to go for Heads Up FPV. Engineer still right with them, still 9/10 of a second back, waiting to strike here on this final lap. Hyper gets up there, but he's about 2 seconds back. Heads Up FPV's pushing. Engineer's right behind him. You see the difference of 1 flag. They go around the swoopy, pushing it hard. It'll be Engineer just ahead of Heads Up FPV. This one is going to go a third round. Holy guy. Looking for an end with fireworks. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. 23.5 minutes until we go dark. And Engineer, hero of the game. I got too many screens and I don't know where my mouse is. I can't scroll up. But someone in the chat said Engineer was looking, or is ready for a win. It's eluded him for a long time. And well, he has now changed this game right here. So of course it is chase the ace. You race repeatedly until someone wins twice. Heads Up FPV with a win. Engineer with a win. And right now they're first and second based on the points. And Amari is a couple of points back in third. Hyper is in fourth currently. Amari has a second and a fourth. Hyper has a fourth and a third. And now it's getting real. Of course, the Freedom Spec drone, for those unaware of the schematic. Basically, the pilots are able to build with any frame that they want. The video downlink, it's up to them. The electronic speed controllers, that's on them, their choice. Flight controller, software, etc., that's on them. But the key components of the Freedom Spec Racer are the motors, 533 Heads Up FPV 2207 motors, HQ R38 props, the propellers, and a 3S battery. Now, that is not standard in most drone races. They go 5 or 6S. But what we see with a 3S battery is a longer flight time. Being able to maintain that speed for longer, where a lot of drone racers prefer a 6S, which gives them more burst, maybe not as much stamina, but everyone here locked into a 3S situation, and a minimum all-up weight of 460 grams. which is a fair bit for a 3S spec racer. But you can see this is blade to blade. That whole finish, I mean, we're looking at Engineer and heads up FPV. Engineer winning by 0.4 of a second. But all 4 pilots finishing that race, we talked earlier about the baubles and so forth, but all 4 pilots finishing that race only not 8.5 seconds apart. Five or 0.4 of a second at the top for first and second. Then we drop 4 seconds back to Hyper and another 6 seconds back for Amari, give or take. This is getting serious right there. There's a shot of Engineer getting his quad all lined up, balanced up on those FPV Pro launch stands. There's Heads Up FPV working his way over to the launch stands as well. Pilots launch on the right-hand side of the diamond, fly remotely on the left-hand side. Visitors team, home team situation. Now we are a few moments from going green on Chase the Ace, round number 3. 2 aces to chase, 1 Engineer, 1 Heads Up FPV. So if we're going to push this a 4th round, Hyper or Amari are going to need an elusive finish here tonight. You know, we're really hoping that we can have our podium with the fireworks. But Nurk says it's a little scary that we may have to finish this race after the fireworks. His Engineer likes to drag his toes across the ball diamond or something. I don't know. We're green. And it is round number 3 of Chase the Ace. Started with 4. Looks like we're down to 3. We lost Engineer. Oh, looks like we're going to restart that one. They're saying, let's push another round. We're going to do it. False start. There's some hustle. So, right bottom right hand of your screen as we go out to retrieve quads. So by my counting, we're 17 minutes away from fireworks. And we might be 1 minute and 40 seconds away from deciding our podium. We'll see how that all plays out. Kenrick FPV says 6-round Chase the Ace. Well, in Velocidrone, usually running in heats of 6, it could go 7, but here we're running heats of 4, so the maximum we could run is 5, and that could happen. I guess we have seen 6 rounds of Chase the Ace in Velocidrone in the sim, where a lot of spec racing, everyone racing the same type of drone in a virtual environment. Here we're racing the same drone in an IRL, in real life environment. Hey, everybody. For that, if it wasn't for the fireworks, we could race all night long. Hefte Puente saying gates are looking a little rough for the 3S speeds. Yeah, if you look on the left-hand side of your screen, I think we've blown out a few zip ties on the elevated gate in the center of your screen and the one after the double stack on the left. A lot of racing. We've run, just in our brackets here tonight, 31 heats. And then when it came to qualifying, They're running in heats of 6. And it looks like a grand total of 7 rounds of qualifying. I don't want to do math. Math is not usually my strong point, but 7 rounds of qualifying with 7 heats, so that's 49. Hey, 49 heats of about 40 pilots. That's a lot of bashing and crashing. As we regroup and refocus. It's a lot of race in Moberly, Missouri. Of course, Heart of America leading the charge down in South Central. Hosted the first global qualifier of the 2020 MultiGP series. I think we're now coming up on our 7th and 8th global qualifiers in, as pilots and chapters are now working their way out of basements and garages and man caves and getting out to races and hosting qualifiers. Global qualifiers hosted by MultiGP chapters worldwide. Last year we had 1,100 pilots worldwide ranked on a global leaderboard, where we invited the top 200 to the Pro Class Championship, or the MultiGP Championship. And the next 100 pilots, as we went down the list to confirm a full grid, to our Sport Class, our inaugural Sport Class Championship. There's some fireworks off in the background. That's not the official fireworks. We're going to hopefully see a huge show here tonight in our live stream after the podium. That's just some crazy rednecks, or some people that like to dance around statues. I don't know. That's not professional fireworks off in the background. We're going to see a big show in a little bit, right after we see this drone racing show. Hyper, Heads Up FPV, Engineer, and Amari. HACA's round number 3. Hyper needs a win right now, or Amari needs a win to push this into Chase the Ace round number 4. Well, we're getting close. We're 14 minutes from lights off and fireworks. 14 minutes. I saw Engineer turn and walk a little more briskly by the camera that time. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, Patrick. It was Nurk, I swear. I swear. The suspense is killing me. Looks like we have 3 of 4 pilots set. One more to go. Doug, I lost your Facebook connection and I'm frozen on what I'm looking at. There we go. I'm back. Got full video. Chase the Ace round number 3. Getting lots of let's go in the chat. Fans are excited. Glad to have each and every one of you with us here on the MultiGP YouTube channel. We are producing this race quasi-remotely, something that we've been working on this early summer, something that we hope to do a little bit more across our global qualifier season. Be able to take you in and around the MultiGP community. So I'm connected to you, Doug, but I can't hear. We're green. Great start for all 4 pilots here. Chase the Ace round number 3, and once again Engineer with some issues, and he will go down. He's sitting okay on the points. Remember, he has one of the aces, but now it is on Amari and Hyper to chase down Heads Up FPV. And Heads Up FPV, your first one across line with an 18.5. Hyper across line, 9/10 of a second behind him in the number 2 spot. And here comes Amari onto that lead lap as well. So closest is Hyper behind Heads Up FPV, but Heads Up FPV has a gear. He's already out of the swoopies and about to go into lap 3. There's Hyper 1 second back behind him onto lap number 3. And here comes Amari as he gets onto that lead lap, lap number 3. A lap and a bit still to roll. See if we can get a little closer to Heads Up FPV. Looks like no bobbles there. That's not a quad in front of him. That's his shadow in front of him. Heads Up FPV with a, looks like a 1.3 second lead over Hyper. And we still have a lap and a half to go. Amari gets onto that lead lap as well. Will this be the last race of the night? We're about ready to wave a white flag. One more to go for Heads Up FPV. One more to go for Hyper. 2 seconds behind our leader. 2 seconds from pushing this a 4th round here tonight. All eyes on the top left-hand side of your screen. See if Hyper can reel in Heads Up FPV. I don't think it's going to be enough. Heads Up FPV goes to the line, and he is your champion. Hyper finishing up 2.3 seconds back in the number 2 spot. And so Heads Up FPV is your champ. And the rest coming down to our finish point. Second in the heat going to Hyper. Third going to Engineer. Third going to Amari. Fourth going to Engineer in that heat. And so your final 4 podium will be Amari in 4th overall, Hyper in 3rd overall by 1 point, Engineer 2nd overall with a total 8, and Heads Up FPV, your champion, flawless through his preliminary races all the way into Chase the Ace and winning 2 of the 3 Chase the Ace matches right there. That win from Engineer and Chase the Ace round number 2 worked for him in a big way. A third, a first, and a 4th, giving him a total 8, getting 2nd place by 1 point. And Hyper and Amari with a total of 9 points. Motocross rule going to Hyper. So Hyper 3rd overall, Amari 4th overall. And that is going to do it here for me. We're going to turn things over to Sean Ames and Doug Kling in Moberly, Missouri, as they get set to do podiums and get ready for fireworks. And I believe the fireworks are coming up in about 8 minutes' time. And with that, you see the pilots running, and I just got a Facebook call through the line from Sean Ames. We are racing again. Engineer crashed out due to a hole shot rule. So we are going to rerun round number 3 of Chase the Ace. Hole shot rule is contact before the start finish gate, resulting in a crash. Hole shot rule in play. We are running again. We blank round number 3. So the fireworks happening before the start finish gate. And so you wanted a climactic finish. That is what you're getting here tonight. So I guess Miwo caught it on the live stream as well. I was watching and wondering what had happened there to Engineer. He went down a little quick. So whole shot rule. And as I look, there's some unofficial fireworks going off right behind Heads Up FPV's head there, as you see in the camera shot. But we have 5.5 minutes to fireworks here tonight. GG Hils giving Hyper some props on that last race as well, holding his own behind Heads Up FPV for sure. What's up, Nurk? You got tats? You got ink? I didn't know you had ink. So looking at some of the comments there in the chat, someone said, well, they're surprised that the heat wasn't called sooner. Well, if you're not sure, you let them run out and then decide after the fact, because once you say something, I mean, you may that could be a decision you regret. So it is a staple when it comes to the whole shot. What an exciting turn of events right here as we get set to run him again. Holy guy. So deja vu all over again. Engineer with an ace. Heads Up FPV with an ace. If either of them win, we should be done. If Hyper or Amari get the win, I think we're going to be finishing this one after some fireworks here tonight. Three and a half minutes until 9:30 Central, when the fireworks are scheduled. See some cars pulling up on the road behind the racetrack there to get prime position to see some fireworks here tonight. Of course, everyone tuned to YouTube on the MultiGP YouTube channel to watch some live drone racing here tonight. The Freedom Spec Championship, Chase the Ace. Round 3. Getting set to go green. Sky FPV helping out in the chat, as we have very little communication here remotely to the field, and Sky updating everyone. It was Amari, an engineer, who crashed in that last one, and we're green. And a good start for all 4 pilots. With those shadows, it makes it a little difficult to see there, but you got Heads Up, Hyper, and Engineer all grouped together. Amari in the back of the caboose. First lap coming in. Boom, look at that. 1.2 seconds separating the entire field. This one is blade to blade, motor to motor, chasing down Heads Up FPV. And he's on the throttle, off the throttle. We'll see how this plays out. Looks like the rest of the field now catching up to him again. There's Heads Up onto lap number 3. Hyper and Engineer right behind him. Less than a second and a half separating him first and second. Looked like Hyper got a little loosey-goosey as he gets back lined up. Now it's once again back on Engineer to reel in Heads Up FPV. They're about to cross onto lap number 4. 2 to go. There's Heads Up FPV. Engineer about 1.9 seconds back here onto lap number 4. Hyper gets onto that lead lap as well. He's 5 seconds back off of our leader. And Amari now going to take a knee on this one, getting set to wave a white flag here for Heads Up FPV. One more to go. And there you go. This one is done. It's going to be Heads Up FPV, your champion, 2 wins of the session. And second going to go to Hyper. Third gonna in the heat. Third gonna go to Engineer in the heat. Fourth gonna go to Amari. And so that is going to, once again, have Engineer as your reserve champion, this time with first and a pair of thirds. Hyper will be third overall with a fourth, a third, and a second. Amari, fourth overall with a pair of fourths and a second. And Heads Up FPV is your first ever Freedom Spec champion with a second and a pair of wins. There's a shot of him right there with his crew here for the race. And now with that, our congratulations to the pilots, and we'll turn things over to our field on site. Let's watch some fireworks here tonight. Well, what an exciting night. Thanks for everyone being with us. Getting set for some fireworks here this evening. We're live from Moberly, Missouri. Here we are off to the far side. I believe they're going to be turning off the big lights. You can see the pilots on the left-hand side. Of course, this one, it was a heater. Heads Up FPV, your winner. But the big story there is win Heads Up FPV's money. Win Evans' money here tonight. So that means it all rolls down. And so Engineer, they said he's been waiting for that win. And, well, he finally got it some way, somehow. So he finishes up second, but he'll get first place money, $800 to the good. Hyper finishing up third overall, so that is going to be second place money, $500 to him. And then Amari, fourth overall, that's third place money, $350. $225 to Chief, who was fifth with fourth place money, and Neukel with $125. And that'll be sixth with fifth place money. There's a great shot of some fireworks there for you on a Independence Day, July 4th. What a great night of drone racing, this Freedom Spec race. Watching these pilots all race the exact same drone. It was blade to blade. So many close finishes. So much excitement here tonight. Of course, our thanks to the sponsors of the Freedom Spec drone race, Five33.com, FPVgates.com, HQ Props, Beta FPV, Team Black Sheep, Central Missouri Home Team, Heart of America FPV, of course, your home chapter and producer of the first ever 533 presents Freedom Spec Drone Racing Weekend. The pilots enjoying some fireworks here tonight. They'll be going to the Heart of America field for some tiny trainer racing this evening, and more festivities tomorrow. They'll go back to the ballpark on the course and do some open racing as well, and some freestyle, and have some fun here on this Independence Day weekend. Of course, our thanks to Doug Kling, making the 18-hour drive from New Hampshire down to Missouri to produce our live stream for us. And of course, the great work that he did all day, getting the connection, which was almost not going to happen, but he pulled it off in the end. Great work. We're excited to bring a race of this magnitude to all of the drone racing fans worldwide. And of course, it couldn't be done without Doug's great work and his contribution here this evening. Well, on behalf of the entire cast and crew of MultiGP, my name is Joe Scully. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you here tonight. Enjoy the rest of the fireworks here on your live stream, and of course, enjoy your Independence Day. Happy 4th, everybody. We'll see you again soon.